Welcome back to episode 91 of the ATD Baseball Podcast. I'm not going to waste any time here. I'm going to get this right off the bat, and then we can get into everything else. Kyle, congratulations, my guy. You did the thing that a lot of people hope to do one day. You proposed to your girlfriend. And she said yes. Congratulations. That is awesome, my friend.
Thank you, man. I can't express that enough. Thank you. It's been a wild 72 hours. I'll tell you that. For those of you who don't follow us or me personally on Instagram, yeah, I proposed to my girlfriend. I think the greatest thing that we could take away from this is she said yes. That's what matters the most.
Never a doubt.
No, but yeah, it's been crazy. You know, still getting used to it a little bit. It's just been wild, man. We talked a little bit about it before we started recording. Just wild, man. It's been crazy. I'm stoked. You don't even have to ask me how I'm doing. Very excited. Probably the best I've ever been. Very, very cool. But yeah, we'll kind of skip out out of any more of that. And
well, hey, hang on. I got two things. Number one, did you stretch out your knee? Did you stretch out your knee before this? Like, you know what? I gotta stretch out my knee here. I don't want to blow my knee out, and then I can't get back up.
I'll be honest with you, man. The entire process, and now listen, if anybody can give me some clarification on this, when you propose, you kind of don't know what the hell you're doing. Like, you kind of forget how the world works and how your body works, kind of. And I was just hoping that I put it on the right hand. That's what mattered to me, I went down, and supposedly, according to Google, I went down on the correct knee, so that's good. And I put it on the correct hand, so that's what matters. But no, to answer your question, there was no stretching beforehand. That was kind of just spur of the moment kind of thing.
And lastly, and then we'll move on from this, I promise.
Mm-hmm.
Is she walking around with her ring, like fucking flaunting, like, you see this bitch right here? Fucking my boyfriend knows he has good taste right here. You fucking feel this ring right here? Is she going around flaunting it? I hope she is.
As far as I know, yes.
Is she going to her other girlfriends and be like, you see this bitch right here? This is what you'll never have. Or she's not. Is she doing that? I hope she is.
I think so. She made it to a
Good,
point to,
as she should.
she made it to a point to constantly, as we're driving home from the venue, every once in a while shoving it right in my face,
Yeah.
just to remind me. But yeah, if I had to answer your question, yeah, I think she is.
That's good. As she should. I'm sure she's very proud of that. Okay. Enough wedding talk, or ring talks, I should say, because I'm a single guy. So let's move on here. We got things that we want to talk about this weekend. Dodgers, Ohtani, 40-40. I was there. I got to see it live in person. I'm sure a lot of you saw my reaction video to that. Whether you like it or not, I really don't give a fuck. It's my video, and I can do whatever I want with it. And if you don't like it, right here, my friend. I don't give a shit. Yeah, I'm coming in guns blazing today. I'm in a good mood.
Amazing video, by the way. I have to say.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. And then Aaron Judge again. It seems like the last couple of weeks he's been on this podcast episode talking about him, but he passed 50 home runs again. And I asked Kyle off camera, what will it take to get your attention? How many home runs would Judge have to have at the end of this month to get your attention for 63? And he said 52 to 53. He's already at 51, and there's still a full week left in August. And then Francisco Lindor.
He's knocking on some doors. To some people.
Some people, yes. To some people, mainly the Met fans, and everybody else that doesn't like the Dodgers. There's this big movement for him to win the MVP this year. and I have some thoughts about that, and we have the splits right in front of me. I don't think that's happening, my friend. But again, we'll wait for that down the line. Um, we'll get into all that, and if you can't see, I'm wearing a hat. I never, I never wear hats on on this podcast. If you can't tell if you're listening or if you're watching on YouTube, as I should say, um, I like it. You are what you eat, and I love Dodger dogs. So I am proud to announce that I am now the ambassador and spokesperson for Dodger Dog hot dogs, as you can see by this hat. So if you have any questions or you want a Dodger dog, you come to me. I'll get it for you. Have you ever heard of the Candy Man? Well, I'm the hot dog man. So you come to me, and I'll take care of you. Best hot dog in the world right here, baby. The Dodger dog. Doesn't get any better than that.
I love to hear it, and I am glad that you clarified on that, because for the people listening, you are what you eat can be taken in multiple different ways.
Yes, it can be. Yes.
But I am very glad you clarified on that. And real quick before we get into this, I will say this as well. You had kind of touched on it. Aaron Judge has been a topic of this podcast for the last couple weeks, and this isn't just me pushing this, okay? He's doing shit that is,
Right.
podcast worthy. Yes, I'm a huge Yankee fan. Yes, I glaze Aaron Judge. I'm the first to admit it. Whatever, we all have that player, and for me, it's Aaron Judge. And yeah, I'm not behind camera here, pushing, Melo. Let's talk
Yeah.
about Judge this week. No, this
He's not
shit's
being
like
talked
legit.
about
Like
enough. He's-
this guy is doing some crazy shit, and obviously we'll get into it. But I wanted to clarify that too because I'm a Yankee fan, and a lot of people like to comment on that. So I want to clarify that.
Yeah. So we'll get into all that, but first, I guess for me, this can kind of be, this can kind of be my Shohei Ohtani kind of Dodgers, a little bit of both here.
Hmm.
Tremendous weekend at Dodger Stadium. I really have to say that. Now listen, there's never a bad day when you're at Dodger Stadium watching a Dodger game. Of course, if they lose, then you just wasted 3 hours of your time. But for the most part, never a bad day at Dodger Stadium. This past week for me, I don't know why. I really... Now listen, maybe because they only lost one game during this past week at home. And it was a game they should have won if Michael Kopech and Evan Phillips would have not given up runs. They would have won the game. But Dodgers love to honor their teams, their other teams in LA. They had a Kings night Wednesday, and they had a Kobe/Laker theme all weekend. Friday night, and for people that don't live in Los Angeles, obviously Kobe Bryant means a big deal to us in Los Angeles. He, when he was alive, he walked on water. And I've mentioned this. You guys have heard it 1,000 times. We were all devastated and crushed when he passed away in that tragic accident 4 years ago. But every year we take the time to remember him and honor him. And the Dodgers did that over the weekend. Friday was his birthday. He would have been 46. Saturday was Kobe Day. So it was kind of implemented with the theme of Lakers night, which had the Showtime Lakers all return, except Magic Johnson, but it's okay. He always shows up for Dodger stuff, so it doesn't matter. But Kareem was there, the captain. I'm like, holy shit, like there's some legends in the building tonight. So they were there, and then they threw out the first pitch, so that was fun. And then Sunday, Kobe Bryant jersey giveaway day. So everybody in attendance, well, the first 40,000 fans, got a Kobe Bryant jersey, Dodger jersey. 8 in the front, 24 in the back, and it said Bryant. It was a Black Mamba, black themed jersey, and it was beautiful. So, special weekend. And then on top of it, Shohei Ohtani going 40 for 40. Listen, I was at a loss of words. Well, clearly not, because you saw the video Friday, but I completely forgot when he hit that grand slam, it was his 40th. Completely forgot, because right now the Dodgers are in this tight division race with San Diego and Arizona, and I was so focused on the Dodgers just trying to win the baseball game Friday that I completely forgot that the grand slam walk-off that he hit was his 40th. It took for them to put it on the big screen and all around the stadium for me to remember, oh my God, that was his 40th home run. Nights like Friday is why the Dodgers signed Shohei Ohtani. And I'm sure that's why Shohei Ohtani wanted to sign with the Dodgers. He wants to be in meaningful games, and he wants to be in the big spot when it matters the most. Has he come through all the time? No. But he has already 2 walk-offs this season. 2 more. And I didn't even know this until I saw an Angel fan on Twitter say it. Did you know that he never had a walk-off with the Angels? 6 seasons that he was there. Not 1 walk-off with the Angels. In his first year as a Dodger, he already has 2. He had a walk-off, I think double or single, in May against Cincinnati. And then he had the walk-off grand slam for his 40th home run to give him 40-40 Friday night. Not gonna lie to you, got a little emotional there. I wasn't crying like we won the World Series or anything. I wasn't doing that. But I was so emotional because Ohtani hit this big home run. He won the game. All the Dodger fans, including myself, were chanting MVP, MVP. And for me, like, that means something to me, man. It does. Like, all those times in the offseason after we signed Ohtani, this is the kind of stuff that I was envisioning. Like, man, Ohtani's going to be playing in front of a full house. Imagine when he hits his first home run at Dodger Stadium, everyone's going to go nuts. Imagine when he hits a walk-off, that's going to be nuts. I did not have walk-off grand slam for your 40th home run to get 40-40 in the cards, but what he's been doing this season with the Dodgers, incredible. MVP worthy. Never continues to amaze me. And through all this, dude's going to pitch next year. And oh yeah, he's pretty good at it too. But listen, 50-50 is definitely happening. I think. He got his 41st home run Saturday night, the next night. He needs 10 more stolen bases. I really think he's going to get there. First Dodger player to go 40-40. First Japanese player to go 40-40. 6th player in the history of baseball. Remember, baseball's been around for over 150 years. This kind of stuff is not happening every season. I know it just happened last year with Acuna. But, and the quickest ever to do it. I think he got his 40 stolen bases and 40 home runs in 121 games. Faster than ever. I think he beat the last quickest person by 20 games. That's how crazy that is. And he's not done yet. We still have like 6 weeks left in the regular season. But special night at Dodger Stadium, and nights like that is why Ohtani's here. And I hope, and he mentioned it too during his post-game press conference, he did say that is probably his most memorable moment as a Dodger so far. So far. Hopefully, there's a couple big moments coming down in about 7 or 8 weeks. But I like it. Ohtani wants to be in the big spot. He wants those opportunities. He may not come through all the time, but when the lights are on, he wants it. He wants to deliver. And that's what I saw Friday night. Incredible. That's what I have.
Yeah, I can't reiterate I can't reiterate what you just said enough. I mean, ever since Ohtani came into this league, he's been doing things that we haven't seen since Babe Ruth, and it's going to get to the point where he is going to surpass Babe Ruth. If he can continue to pitch and hit at this kind of level, I mean, there's got to be at least a conversation. I know there's a bunch of old heads who are like, no, Babe Ruth is, the GOAT, whatever. But we got to remember, Babe Ruth also wasn't seeing these fucking 100-mile-per-hour fastballs getting blown by him, if not more. You know, Otani's doing this type of shit in the modern type of era of baseball where it's a lot harder, man. Like, we see careers die within a year. Like, it takes me back to a guy like Luke Voigt. He was in the spotlight of New York City just 2 years ago. And then he gets shipped off to San Diego and his career goes to shit. Like, you know, you're out of this league quick. And to be able to perform like Ohtani is and reach a milestone like that, and all while doing it in one of the biggest markets in the world, that means something, you know? And I'll reiterate this too. It's like the fact that Ohtani's doing this and he's not like I'm gonna say he's not fully healthy.
No.
Because if he was fully healthy, he'd be pitching as well. You know, so this guy is still dealing with the arm issues that he had last year, and he just hit 40-40. You know, this is a guy who's playing each and every day and putting on that uniform, and he's proud to go out there and play for the team. You know, that's the type of shit that means something to these fan bases. You know, and I'm glad that you get to experience a player like that because I'm experiencing the same damn thing with Judge. You know, and it's like those are the type of moments that bring you back as a... Okay, Aaron Judge just hit another homer, by the way.
Oh, 52.
Yeah. So that's going to come up later. But
Stay tuned.
yes. Lost my train of thought. But Shohei Ohtani goes out there every single night and is proud to put on the uniform and is doing these unbelievable things. And I'm sorry. I'm going to go back on that. He just made a hell of a leaping catch to center field. So that's my fault. That is totally my, that's my bad. I got myself. I know. Look at that. And I'm the Yankee fan saying that. But no. Ohtani's crazy, man. And what he's doing is unbelievable. And what he's going to be doing for years to come is just going to be... It's going to be remarkable to watch. And he has a real for sure chance to go down as the greatest player to ever play. If not, he's going to be in the conversation. There's no doubt about it. So what he's doing for the Dodgers, it's amazing to see. It makes me appreciate it more too. It makes me appreciate this game a little bit more because I feel like Dodger and Yankee fans can kind of relate a little bit to a lot of bullshit, I guess you can say. But it's just wild, man. And there's not much more I can say. Obviously, I don't watch Ohtani on a nightly basis like you do, but I see it from afar and what he's doing.
You will this week.
And it's that is true. That I will be. I'll be rooting for Ohtani more than ever. But yeah, it's crazy to watch what he's doing, and I wish I could say more, but like this is the shit that we expect from Ohtani. This is the type of guy that he is. It's a guy that we've never really seen before. And for us to witness that in our lifetime, I think it's pretty damn cool. And I think for you to witness it as a Dodger, I think it's even cooler. So it's crazy, man. It really is.
Another crazy thing that I found too. You know, the night that he hit his 40th home run for 40-40. You know exactly 1 year ago to the day tore his UCL and was done at least pitching for the rest of the season. Or was pretty much done for the rest of the season.
Jeez.
Exactly 1 year to the day. That's insane. Again, all the stars lining up. Comes back a year later and he's on the 40-40 club. And there's still 5 weeks left to go in the regular season. You can't make that stuff up sometimes. You just can't. Yeah, just to kind of wrap it up here with the Dodgers, they like I said, they went 6-1 this past week. Took 2 out of 3 from Tampa, and then swept Seattle. They beat a very good pitching staff, by the way. Did not. They threw out all their best guys, and by the way, before the manager got fired, and I can't believe I'm blanking on his name right now.
Scott Service.
There you go. He got fired, by the way, in case you didn't know. Right after the series, I think it was that Tuesday night. You know, he managed that game like it was Game 7 of the World Series. Oh my God, did he do that? It was a tie game. It was the seventh inning, and he brings in his best reliever, Andres Munoz, and he got. I think he pitched the seventh inning, and then he gave up the home run to Hayward in the eighth inning, which ended up being the death of him and him getting DFA'd. But yeah, just Dodgers keep doing what you're doing. We got a big 3-game series coming up against the Baltimore Orioles. Maybe a World Series preview? I don't know.
No.
Okay. I know Yankee fans don't want to hear that, but
It's possible.
listen, man. I'm gonna be telling all the Oriole fans that come through, hey, we might see each other again in a couple months. I sign up for that right now, but we'll see. But that's my Dodgers. Let's do Aaron Judge. 51 home runs right now.
Yes.
Crazy. And we were mentioning this before we started, and even last week, that you already said that if he breaks his own record, it'll be nice, but it's not going to have the same feeling as it did 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't changed, correct?
It is not. No. We were talking about this a little bit more before we started recording here, and don't get me wrong here. I absolutely love Aaron Judge, and I want him to have these incredible seasons each and every year. I do. Am I going to be happy if he hits 63? Of course I am. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be ecstatic. I'm going to be extremely happy, and I hope that success carries into the postseason. I do. But when it comes down to it, if you were to ask me, would I rather him hit 63 or maybe like 61? I'm going to have to say 61. And it's not because of the whole thing of like not wanting Judge to like, break that record, whatever it is. It's more the fact of it doesn't have the same feeling. All of 2022, when it started, we didn't even think about it. We knew Judge can hit homers, and we knew that he could do it at an unbelievable rate. But once the chase actually started, like him chasing down Maris, there will never be another season in my life, as far as I'm concerned, that I am going to feel what I felt during the 2022 season. What he was doing in chasing down that 61-year-old record and breaking it, right? And there's a movie made about Maris and Mantle going back and forth. Like, I've watched that movie time and time again as a kid, and I still watch it to this day. And it was just magical from start to finish. I don't have any of those same feelings right now. I don't. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy for the dude, and it's so cool to see this guy is smashing homers left and right. But it's the feeling for me. That's what it comes down to. And I'm not feeling any of that. But I'm not going to take anything away from him. This dude is batting over 300. He has a real chance for the Triple Crown. And it's going to take it's kind of like, what Judge is doing. It's going to take an unbelievable season from Bobby Witt Jr. to catch him in the AL MVP race. And funny enough, Bobby Witt is the reason why he's not leading in the Triple Crown right now. But what Judge is doing for this fan base, for this team, is unbelievable. I was too young to truly experience Derek Jeter, which I am not too happy about. That would have been pretty cool to me. But if I had to guess what that felt like, it's this. And Judge is he's unbelievable, man. It kind of goes back to the Ohtani talk too. Obviously Judge doesn't pitch, but this guy is an all-around five-tool player. He just made an unbelievable catch in center field. Go look at it if you haven't yet. It was fucking crazy. But this dude, he hits for contact. He hits for power. The OPS is unbelievable. I think he's hitting over 1,100 for his OPS for the year, which is crazy. He just surpassed 50 WAR for his career. This dude is it's superhuman. It's crazy. It's crazy to watch this dude on a nightly basis and see what he does. I'm super stoked for it, and I have to hope that he can carry this success into the postseason, because damn do we need it. Because as much as I love Judge, I am willing to admit, listen, the postseason success isn't there. It's not. And for this team to go anywhere, I mean anywhere. I don't care if Soto is just going off. I don't care if Stanton's finally coming around. If 1 through 9 is hitting, except for Judge, this team is going nowhere. And I full-heartedly believe that. This team cannot afford another postseason like Judge has had in the past. They can't. Because Judge needs to be on all year long. From the moment October hits, he needs to turn on those Jets and just keep going. That's what he needs to do. Because if not, this Yankee team ain't going anywhere. I promise you that.
Yeah. I feel the same way as you. I was really into it, and I'm not even a Yankee fan. I was really into it when Judge was chasing 62. I was literally at work looking down at my phone watching the Aaron Judge at bats because he was coming up, and I wanted to see if he'd do it. It sucks because I don't, and I'm not saying you. I'm talking about other Yankee fans, and I think this goes hand in hand with Ohtani too. They're both having these historic seasons, but then there's these, but can you do it when it matters the most? And it sucks because I think there's a lot of Yankee fans, and again, I'm not including yourself, and there's a lot of Dodger fans that they really want to enjoy what's going on right now with their two, face of the franchise players, but they can't because they can go 0 for 10, they can go 0 for 20 in the postseason, and that's all everybody's gonna remember at the end of it. Yeah, you had this historic season in the regular season, but then you didn't do anything when you got to the postseason. And the Dodgers and Yankees had another disappointing season. They were out early in the playoffs. It sucks that it has to be like that, but it's one of those things where you're not really you're gonna really appreciate it, enjoy it when he's not around anymore, when he's not playing baseball anymore. And that sucks because I've always tried the best that I can to live in the moment. Now, it's been hard the last couple of years because look at what's happened with the Dodgers, but in the postseason. But just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Like, this is unprecedented. And I mentioned this to you before we started. If he didn't have a bad May, he would be challenging Bonds' 73. He would be. Without question. I think it's a little too late for that. Listen, if he would have to hit a home run I think every game for the next he would have to average at least three or four home runs the rest of the way going forward. I think something like that. Something crazy like that he would have to just to have a shot at it. Mm-hmm. That's not happening, but he's clearly, and this will go on to our next thing, he's clearly the MVP, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I know Bobby Witt is giving him a run, but where would this team be without Aaron Judge? I understand Soto's having a career year too, but we saw last year what this team looks like without Aaron Judge in center field, or last year in right field. It changes. Yeah. Enjoy it.
Exactly. And to comment on your first point, I've learned as a Yankee fan, especially because I'm not your prototypical Yankee fan. I didn't grow up in the 90s watching that dynasty. I wasn't treated to World Series basically every single year. I wasn't treated to that. I was 9 years old. Actually, I'm sorry. I was born the year that the Yankees beat the Mets in the World Series. Obviously, I don't remember that. And then I was 9 years old when the Yankees beat the Phillies in the postseason. After that, everybody knows what happened. This team hasn't even sniffed the World Series since then. So for me, I feel like it's a little bit easier to enjoy what Aaron Judge is doing. And I understand where Yankee fans are coming from. especially the older ones, the ones who expect championships year in and year out. And it's been years since we've had one, so I get it. I do. But I have really learned to appreciate what this man is doing. And that goes for everybody. I'm appreciating what Soto's doing right now,
So Scott
but
Boras.
damn right he is. But Judge has over a 9 WAR for the season. Now, if anybody who doesn't know, that's wins above replacement. You take Judge out of that lineup, that Yankee, that's it. I understand Soto's there. He can only do so much, though, without Judge. But I also think that goes for Judge, too. I think he can only do so much without Soto, and we've seen that in the last few years. But, yeah, you take him out of this lineup, and I don't think that the Yankees are anywhere close to where they are right now. But, yeah, it's crazy to me that people still are trying to give. Maybe it's just a little, Homer bias here, but it's crazy to me that Judge is still having conversations with Bobby Witt. I'm not taking anything away from him, but Judge is having an historic season, and he's on pace for 63 home runs right now. So that's all I have to say. But yeah, let's dive into. This is more personal to you. For me, the National League means close to nothing for me, except for if the Yankees will meet one of them in October. But other than that, this has no meaning towards me, so I will let you fully dive into this.
So there's been a push for this last week, really, for Francisco Lindor to get National League MVP. Now, he did win Player of the Week along with Aaron Judge, and this past week he was phenomenal. I think he slashed. This past week he slashed 345, had an OPS of almost 1,200, 4 doubles, 3 home runs. It's pretty damn good. But you look at the bigger picture. I'm sorry. Am I missing something here? Shohei Ohtani has ahead in Lindor in almost every category that people care about. WAR, hits, home runs, RBIs, stolen bases, which that is a big deal now because you made it a big deal with Acuna last year. So don't give me this crap that it doesn't mean anything. OBP, slug, OPS, and OPS plus.
And just real quick, I just want to put this in here. There's 2 categories that Francisco Lindor leads Ohtani in, and it's probably the 2 that he does not want to have, which is games played and plate appearances, which means Ohtani is doing all of this in less appearances. So keep that in mind, please.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, but Ohtani is literally breaking a record. He's breaking records. And I mentioned this to somebody who commented on a post that we put on earlier, Factor Cap. I said, if Ohtani gets 50-50, then this conversation is over. He's the MVP. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Listen, I was open earlier today to having the discussion about Lindor, and I'm not taking anything away from him. He is having an MVP caliber season. But the guy in front of you that you're chasing is having a historic, unprecedented season. That's the difference. That's the difference.
That's why I'm glad Ohtani's out of the AL. Look what Judge had to do.
Yes. I think if Ohtani was doing it this year with the Angels, if he was still with the Angels, and you had the exact same numbers as he does today with Judge, I think Judge would still be the favorite. But again, I think I think that would be way closer. I still think.
But at the same time, look what Judge is doing this year. Yeah. He's needing to have a season like this to beat out Ohtani.
Yes.
That's why I'm glad he's back. He's over in the National League now. I don't need to worry about that shit.
They try to give it a Harper. They try to give it a Marcell Ozuna. And now they're trying to give it a Francisco Lindor. And through all this, Ohtani hitting home runs and stealing stolen bases and hitting high for average. He's your MVP in the National League. I'm sorry. Unless something completely happens in the last 5 weeks where Ohtani just completely goes cold and Lindor gets really hot, I just don't see it happening. I'm sorry. And I know what everybody's going to say. Oh, well, he's a Dodger fan, of course. Yeah, it's part of it, but it's like I just gave you all the statistics. He leads nothing. He only, out of these categories, he only leads in 2. Don't get me wrong. Francisco Lindor's a great player, and he's breaking records of his own. I think the first shortstop to have 25 home runs and 25 stolen bases for consecutive years or something like that ever. Something like that. I'm not right on that. Something like that. And he's clearly rejuvenated, and he's clearly the leader in that clubhouse. And he's rejuvenated this Mets team to be in a position to... Now, part of it is because the Braves have had a lot of injuries, but they're in a position to flip and get the Mets into the postseason. But at the end of the day, Ohtani is the MVP of the National League. He's going to be. I'm sorry. And you saw it with Judge in 2022. If you want to beat out Ohtani, you're going to have to do something pretty historic for them to give it to you. Because if Ohtani's going to be hitting 40 home runs, bringing in over 100 RBIs, and if he's going to pitch decent, nobody has a chance. I'm sorry. Nobody does. That's just how it goes. That's how I feel. Ohtani's the MVP.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. I mean, and listen, when Lindor got traded to the Mets, I was super stoked. Number one, I'm not going to see him in the postseason anymore. And number two, the Mets needed a leader in that clubhouse for a long time, and Lindor was the guy. I am very happy for Lindor. I think he's in the perfect spot for him. The only argument that I could see being made for Lindor is I think if you take Ohtani off the Dodgers and you take Lindor off the Mets, I think the Mets are going to struggle a whole lot more than what the Dodgers would.
Fair.
I do think if you want to look at teams, I think, as crazy as this is going to sound, but you got to remember the Dodgers are fucking stacked when it comes down to it. If you take Lindor off of the Mets are going to struggle. They are going to have a hell of a time. So if you want to say anything, I think Lindor is more valuable to the Mets than Ohtani is to the Dodgers. However, that doesn't take away from the fact that's not what we're looking at here. We're looking at stats. We are comparing these two players and what they mean. And just by looking at this stat sheet, before we started recording, we put the stat head from Baseball Reference, and we put Lindor's 2024 season and Ohtani's. And when you look at it, Ohtani clears. There's no discussion. The only argument I can ever see being made is the fact that, Ohtani's a DH and Lindor plays the field. I get it. But it's not like their numbers are close. If they were close, I could say right. You could have an argument. But these numbers are not close. I mean, it's really not. I'm looking at this to try to find some, batting average. Ohtani's batting .292 on the year with Lindor's .269. Ohtani clears that. I mean, Ohtani's slugging is damn near 200 more. The OPS is basically almost 180 more than Lindor's.
He has almost double RBIs and almost double the home runs on Lindor.
Yeah, and Ohtani's pushing 1,000 OPS. That's got to mean something, And when it comes down to it, I don't see a world where Lindor can beat out Ohtani. However, you got to remember though, Ohtani's superhuman. He's something we haven't been seeing in a very, very long time. There's no doubt in my mind that Lindor is having a phenomenal season. And I love to see it. I love Lindor as a player, and I'm really glad that he's helping out the Mets. But when it comes down to it, sorry, that's just the way it is, You got to do something crazy to be able to beat out Ohtani. And so far, that's not happening in the National League. I am going to say I do think Lindor finishes top 3. Yeah. I'll give him that. Maybe even top 2, depending on how this guy finishes out the year. And I'll be stoked for him. That's such a cool accomplishment. You just got to remember who you're chasing here. You know, this isn't just a tight race. Ohtani is separating himself each and every year, and he's going to continue to do so.
And for all the people who have said, well, DH has never won MVP, records are meant to be broken. Sorry, that's just how it works. Somebody was going to come along and win it eventually. And I think Ohtani's
And
going to be the first one.
why does it shock anybody that it's Ohtani? He's breaking records
Yes,
left and right to begin with.
it, I'm glad we had this discussion because now I feel a whole lot better. There's no discussion.
I and listen, like if Lindor, like if the numbers were close, I like Francisco Lindor. I would want to make an argument for him. I would. But when I don't know, I don't understand how I can make an argument for him. Like right now, I can't. I don't get it. Like, yeah, he's definitely he's an MVP. He's having an MVP type year. He is. But Otani's also just having a historic year. That's what it comes down to.
Uh, I didn't give you the chance to do it, but if you have anything on the Yankees, go for it, and then we'll call it a day.
Um, no, I don't think so. You kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. The Orioles are going into town for Los Angeles.
Yankees
So
have a
that
massive
excites me.
game and a half lead over the Orioles in this division.
It's tight, but this like right now the Yankees are playing in Washington. I'm just gonna reiterate what I said last week. Take care of your business. That's the thing. Take care of your business, and I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't have anything on any specific player except for Aaron Judge, obviously, but that's what I have. I still stand by the fact that the Yankees should win this division with ease with when it comes to these schedules. So that's the way I look at it.
There you go. Episode 91. Um, hopefully the Diamondbacks and Padres can kind of run out of steam here. Man, they every time I look up, they're losing it. And then I look back 10 minutes later, and then they won the game. It's like, what the hell's going on? Um, so hopefully, Dodgers can kind of start separating here a little bit, but I don't think that's going to happen. And it's a good thing. Um, that's it for episode 91. Kyle, congratulations once again on behalf of everybody at ATD and the ATD
Thank
community.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Um, we'll see you next week. Adios.